Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Grow Your Business Smarter, Live Your Optimal Life TV show. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, I have a very special guest back by popular demand. Welcome back, Teresa. We're so glad that you're here with us. So Teresa Hnat is an outstanding member of our Ladies Power Lunch community. And for those of you who are not members of our community as yet, we do absolutely welcome you. Let me just give you a little bit of a backstory. So maybe about 11 years ago, I was struggling in my practice. And so I reached out to 6 women and we had lunch, and we realized that in supporting each other, we actually were able to grow all our businesses. And out of that was born this just free movement of women who have come together in an organic way to support each other and support each other's business. It's completely free. We're a Facebook group. We meet for summits. We meet for monthly meetings. We meet for retreats. We do group publishing projects together. We do all sorts of fun things together to really get together and grow each other's businesses. And so Teresa is an amazing member of our community, and we're just coming from the Ladies Power Lunch Fall Summit. And she was one of our authors on our newest publication, the Ignite Your Leadership anthology, which is an anthology of stories of triumph, which talk about how to invite abundance, increase your income, and how to impact the world, how to expand your reach and increase your income. So Teresa, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. And will you share with everybody who you are and just the amazing things that you are doing in the world?
Sure. So I am Teresa, and I'm the owner of Teresa Hnat Studio. I am a brand photographer and videographer. So I help women entrepreneurs and small businesses really tell their story and get visible so they can help the people that truly need their help, and they can make the impact that they want to make on the world.
So Teresa, tell us a little bit about how you came to do brand photography. How was that? How did that become a part of what your offerings are?
So it's really kind of funny how the universe just throws us in the direction we need to go in. I worked for another photographer for about 10 years, and at that time, brand photography wasn't a thing yet. Newborn photography was actually like all the rage, and everybody was doing that. And her business, primarily, we did like high school seniors, families, not really weddings, but there came to a point where I moved and it was time to move on, and I really couldn't work for her anymore. So I decided to go off on my own. And at the very beginning, I kind of dabbled in a few things. Like I did some weddings, but I didn't really like those. I did some families, but that really wasn't my thing. And then I had someone ask me to do some photos for her business. And I was like, oh, this is what I want to do, because not only have I grown up in a family of small business owners, my dad owned a business, his brother owned a business. So it's kind of like in my blood. But I feel like it really is like the backbone of our culture, our society. Small businesses kind of run the world. And I really wanted to help other small business owners make the impact that they sought out to make. And I found brand photography was the perfect way to do that. And then eventually incorporating the video aspect, which I've always loved creating videos. I've been making them ever since I was like a kid. And I had my dad's like giant VHS camcorder on my shoulder. Those were the days. So it's been so much fun. And I just love getting to be creative and really seeking the essence and the story of each individual person and making sure that they stand out. And I and they're not blending in with others, because everybody, you could have 10 Reiki practitioners and they're all going to do it differently, and they're all going to bring a different spin to the table. And to me, that's the important part of my job, is capturing their story and how they do things different.
That's really interesting. So just curious, when you were little tiny Teresa, what did little tiny Teresa want to do when she grew up?
Little tiny Teresa wanted to go to Hollywood and make movies. She wanted to be a director. That was her goal. So yes, it's always been in the back burner, that drive to want to tell stories and the drive to do it in a visual way.
So how did you, along your path as you went through school and that sort of thing, how did you feed that desire? What was the path that you ended up taking?
It's, again, like the universe drove me to the path I needed to take, because in high school, my parents kind of shut that idea down. They're like, we're not paying for that. Like, you're not going to go to school and do that because you're going to end up living in a box. Because, like, and I get where they were coming from. They were trying to be realistic. And that in the end was not the most realistic goal. So for a long time, I kind of stumbled and I was directionless, and I gave up all of that. Like, I didn't touch it. I didn't make videos. I didn't take pictures, none of it, until I got the job working for the photographer. And then I started to learn more and get more invested in it and get really excited by what I was learning. And then technology, it evolved in a sense that, we carry in our pockets video cameras now, and we carry the capability. I mean, I can shoot and edit videos on my phone now. Like, it's just crazy. And 10 years ago, like the cost of the equipment and the software was just so much that your average person like just couldn't really invest in that kind of thing. But at the time, even working for her, like Photoshop, I could edit videos in Photoshop. So it all kind of came back into my life. And to me, that was the signal that, like, this is what I'm meant to do, because it keeps finding me again and again.
So there might be people who are out there who've had long-standing dreams, who have the creativity that you have, who may feel maybe thwarted or feel like their dreams are just never, ever going to be realized. Now that you're living your dream and you're doing it in a way that is so supportive of the community, perhaps a way that you hadn't imagined, because it's not Hollywood, but it's definitely bringing out the star quality in the entrepreneurs that you're working with. I've seen your work. I saw a video that you worked on recently, and I was like, oh my goodness, this looks just like a movie. What would you have to say to people who are going through their own difficulties right now with struggling through embracing their creativity and making it a part of the work that they do?
I mean, oh boy, do I feel that pain. I feel it so deep in my soul, because that's been my past 15 years of living, has been that struggle of trying to find ways to incorporate my creativity. And there is a part of it that we hold on to those dreams so tightly that we forget sometimes we need to loosen the reins just a little bit. And our dreams, when they come to us, they might take a slightly different shape or form than we originally wanted them to, but that doesn't mean that's a bad thing. Like, yeah, I wanted to go to Hollywood, but now as I'm older looking at it, I'm like, this is so much better than Hollywood. Because look at it. I mean, Hollywood is like a sham now. Everything's a remake of something and it's all corporate. And I feel like the creativity that the directors used to have, they don't have that anymore. They're kind of just, they're just holding out for the whims of the share owners and all that stuff. So like I get to have true creative control. Like I get to do everything I want to do, and I don't have like some corporate honcho telling me, no, you can't do that. So yeah, my dream came to me differently, but it's so much better than I ever could have imagined. So I think sometimes you have to kind of let go a little bit and see what comes back. And it may take a different shape, but that doesn't mean it's not worth pursuing just because it's not exactly what you thought you wanted at the beginning. Because sometimes we don't know exactly what we want. So the universe kind of provides us the nudge. And I think it's important to take it, even though you may feel unsure in the moment.
So you're saying, are you saying that we need to be more open to what the universe is actually saying to us, perhaps listening more closely to the messages? Is that what you're
Yes, I said that in a very roundabout way that was very eloquently put, but yes, I think we need to spend a little bit more time slowing down and like seeing what is presented to us instead of getting so wrapped up in this, it needs to be this way kind of ideology. Because sometimes that holds us back and we don't see what's there in front of us. We don't see the possibilities.
I think that's a wonderful message, Teresa. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful message for every single one of us. One of my favorite mentors, Dr. Deepak Chopra, he talks about remaining detached from outcome, being, of course, open to having desire, but remaining detached from the outcome, because sometimes the way that the universe is going to deliver things to us, we would not have imagined that route. And certainly the way that you are working with your clients, it's magical. It's absolutely magical. Again, I remember seeing one of the very first videos that I saw you do, which was how you popped onto my radar. One of my collaboration partners, Elizabeth Hill, you did a video with her, and Elizabeth is amazing. She's wonderful at what she does. She is the owner of Green Heart Living Press, and she publishes our anthologies and our solo books that we do through Ladies Power Lunch. And you did a video just exploring the work that she does, sort of like a little mini documentary. And I have to say, it was amazing. It really, really was outstanding. And that's when I knew who Teresa Hnat was. That's when I knew who Teresa Hnat was. And every single time that I've seen your videos and photos subsequently, it has given the people who I consider the healers, the leaders, the gurus, the teachers, the people who have a message to share with the world, that a story that needs to be told, you're giving them this vehicle to share this message in a way that they probably wouldn't be seen and heard so easily. So I think it's pretty awesome what you're doing. And I think that, sorry, Hollywood, you guys missed your chance. We've got Teresa now. So Teresa, we've invited you here today because you are a co-author in our most recent best-selling publication, Ignite Your Leadership. And yes, I know this is my bound galley, and it has all my tabs and all my underlines and highlights, because yes, I've been reading through. The stories are outstanding. Ignite Your Leadership came out of an idea that leadership is not your grandfather's idea of leadership anymore. Leadership is looking very different now. And if you are the kind of person who does the kind of work that uplifts others in any way, then you, my friend, and you, my friend, and you, my friend, are a leader. And so we invited all our friends in Ladies Power Lunch, say, hey, would you like to participate in this upcoming anthology? And quite a few of our friends, including Teresa, raised their hands and they came and they participated. And Teresa was one of our friends who participated in the chapter that was in the section of the book that was about leaders who never really saw themselves as being leaders. But it turns out that by my definition of what a leader is, they actually are leaders. So Teresa, can you share with me why participating in this anthology ended up being something that you did and why it's meaningful for you?
I remember when you announced, I believe it was at the Spring Summit, what the concept of this book was going to be. And immediately I was like triggered by it, and triggered in a good way, by the concept and the title, because I think we all have seen that leadership has changed, and what that word means has changed, and the kind of people we view as leaders, like those, that's all changed. And I think it's changed for the better. So I was really excited and I wanted to participate in that because I feel it in my soul, the importance of recognizing people who we normally wouldn't recognize them as leaders because maybe they're shy, maybe they're anxious, but what they have to say and the ideas they have to help the world are just as powerful and just as worthy of being heard. So I think I was so struck by the concept, and I knew I wanted to participate because I feel that message so deep inside my soul, that I knew this was a definite thing I needed to be a part of.
How was the process of participating in the anthology for you? How was it?
That was awesome. I mean, I am not the best writer in the world, but the guidance of the team and, having the meeting, like we have the meetings and like just the overall, like the structure and the support I got along the way was so valuable. I mean, it's a daunting idea to go into it. Like, oh my God, I have to write this chapter and all these people I don't know are going to read it. But once I got immersed into the whole thing, and it just was so amazing. And like I said, the support of the team and the meetings and just the correspondence and the helpful tips and all of that, it was so valuable. And it really took the pressure off. And I really didn't end up worrying about it anymore, worrying that my chapter wouldn't be good enough or anything, because I knew it was being looked at by people who truly cared about what's going in this book, and they were going to give me the guidance I needed.
Yeah, that's so true. I really do trust the editing team that Elizabeth has put together because they really do a good job with editing the stories and making sure that what you bring out is your very best, even if writing is not your strong suit. If taking pictures and making videos is your strong suit, then leave the writing to the editors and you tell them the stories and they'll help you put it all together. So you talk a little bit in your chapter about your experience back in elementary school. Can you share a little bit about that with us?
Yes. So, and it's so funny when you announced the title of this book, that was the story that popped immediately into my head. And in first grade, and pretty much all through elementary school, like I was so shy and so anxious as a child that even the thought of having to go up in front of the class and sharpen my pencil, because the pencil sharpener was at the front of the room so people could see me sharpening my pencil, it was absolutely terrifying. It was a terrifying thought to me. So I would use my pencils so that the lead actually was, the wood of the pencil was longer than the lead of the pencil. Like that's how much I would wear them down, because I would not want to get up in front of the class to sharpen my pencil.
Yeah, but then you say that, you have these qualities of shyness, quietness, and empathy, and that they have served you really, really well as you have embarked in this career of basically photojournalism, working with your our very own entrepreneurs who are part of our community. Tell us a little bit more about how these qualities, which might have you might have thought of as a child as something to be denigrated, you have actually now embraced as a part of making your business even better.
Definitely. I mean, I think growing up, a lot of us shy kids and anxious kids, like we were told that those were bad things. We shouldn't be shy and we should be more outgoing and more talkative and whatnot. But I have found that it's my skills as a listener that make my work so good, because I know when to be quiet and I know when to listen. And I am very much an empathetic person. I feel it's like I have an X-Men power, but it's like the worst power ever, because I can feel everybody's feelings all the time. So when someone tells a story, I can feel if it excites them or if it saddens them or whatever. And that those feelings really dictate the work itself too, because depending on the story we're telling, I want those emotions in the story, because we truly connect with emotions. If you can make somebody feel something, oh my God, it is so, so powerful. And that will stay with them forever. And they will remember how they felt when they watched that video or when they saw that clip, or whether it made them laugh or cry tears of joy, sadness, whatever. I mean, those ACPCA commercials with the dogs, oh my God, they get me every time. I start like bawling. But like, they know how to grab your heart, and that is a skill. And that is something that I feel is a really powerful way to reach people. So to be able to use empathy and to be able to use my skills of being quiet and observing and listening have really, really served me well in the work I do.
So give us an example of how using empathy in your business has actually been beneficial.
So I think like even with Liz Hill's video, when we talked about the concept of the video, I always talk about the concept. And I think this kind of goes back to what we said about letting go. There's always an idea of what the video is going to be when we go into it. And it always ends up being different in the end. But that day, I had pictured something a little bit more, I can't think of the word, like straight edge. It was almost a little bit more corporate-y in the feeling of that video, like very solid and rigid. And when we got together that day with, you were there, Christy Sullivan, Gina, we had a couple people all meet together, and
Oh,
there was
yes,
an
I remember
energy.
that day.
Yes, and there was an energy there. We captured you guys talking. And you guys were just kind of chit-chatting and talking about some books and things, but the energy that I picked up on, like the excitement and the collaboration, I was like, no, this is what's going to drive this video, is those clips to me were the most powerful thing we captured that day, because of just the feel of them and the energy and your reactions to each other. And it just felt so powerful. So that ended up kind of dictating the video for me when I put it together. And it wasn't as like rigid and corporate-y, and it ended up having this softer feel to it, which I think completely works so much better than what I had envisioned to begin with. But it was really being able to pick up on that feeling of that day when you guys were all together, like in your zone, your zone of genius, like doing you. And it was just so powerful to see.
Yes, I do remember that day now that you mention it. It was a very magical day to just all be together. And I don't even think that we remembered that we were shooting a video. I think we all just felt like, oh, we get to hang out together. We hardly see each other because I think we were just like at the end of COVID and we were seeing each other again for the first time. And it was really nice to get together again. So thanks for that reminder. That's awesome. So as entrepreneurs, what advice do you have for us as we try to incorporate more empathy and more of that compassion into our businesses to grow our businesses?
I think still one of the biggest things you can do for yourself and your business is to be seen. And it breaks my heart when I hear people say that's vain or that's narcissistic, because it's not. You are the face of your business and people want to do business with you. And if your goal is to really get out there and, change the world or help other people, then it's almost like a duty. It's like your duty to be heard and seen and connect with people, because people connect with people. So throwing up random quotes that aren't yours and random stock photos that aren't yours, it's people don't connect with that. We recognize that that's almost like a wall that you're putting up. People recognize stock photos now. They recognize stock videos. They know it's not real, like your stuff. So it's so important to be seen so that people can really connect with you, and then they will connect with your message more.
Very, very true. As always, right before our show, just right before we get started, I pull a card, and I pull a card because I think it's a nice thought for the week, a nice little way for us to have something that can be a touchstone, something that can give us something to bounce, a good bouncing off place. And it's interesting because at our last summit, one of our presenters was inviting us to take more notice of the animals around us. And I pulled this card, and I hardly ever notice the animals around us. And I pulled this card with the owl, be the hunter, not the hunted. But the message on it is so clear, Teresa. It's so clear, I feel, for all of us as entrepreneurs as we go into the end of 2022 and into 2023, growing our businesses. It says, it's from, by the way, if anybody wants to take a look at it, the Alana Fairchild Sacred Rebels Oracle deck, if you happen to have this one. My favorite deck by far. This is a powerful time for you, no matter how seemingly small or how apparently dramatic events around you appear to be. Know that you're stepping into a new phase of empowerment. From that place, a new freedom and self-love will emerge. Mother Nature offers you the wisdom medicine of the owl, the ability to hear what is not spoken and to see what is hidden in darkness. Trust what you feel beyond appearances. This is what you were just talking about, Teresa. Trusting your instincts, trusting your intuition. The power and the magic of the owl is working with you, and Mother Nature is by your side, assisting you in navigating the current life transition into a new way of being. I love this all so much. Ladies, this has been such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful conversation. And Teresa, this is the reason why people keep asking you back, because I think they sense your compassion through the lens of our Zoom camera. Can you share with everybody how they can connect with you?
Of course. So my website is teresahnat.com. So TeresaHnat.com. And the social media platform I'm most active on is Instagram. So my handle is at Teresa Hnat Studio. But you can find me on Facebook at Teresa Hnat Studio, and also LinkedIn, just Teresa Hnat. But again, Instagram is the platform I'm the most active on. And I do have a YouTube channel, but I don't yet have 100 subscribers because I'm not as active there. So I don't have like a custom link. It's just a bunch of jargon. So I'm not going to spew that out.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And I'll see you guys on we'll see you guys on the next show, won't we? I hope we will. Okay. All right, guys. So we are in the second half of our show. So this is a part of our show where we can be open to questions and concerns and any kind of conversation that you might have. Hi, Susie. Welcome. Thanks for joining
Hey.
us.
Yeah,
Susie,
happy to be here.
introducing yourself, saying who you are, what you do.
Of course. Yeah. So my name is Susie, and I'm a personal trainer and a habits coach. I'm also a Win-Win Women show host. I have my own show called Habits and Humor. And on the show, we use embarrassing moments to teach life lessons and simple habits that help people make real changes.
Oh my God.
Awesome. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining us. And I would invite you to join our Ladies Power Lunch community. It's free and it's basically for women who support women. That's all it is. So if
Awesome.
you are interested in that, you can, and anybody who's out there who's interested in that can go to growsmarternotharder.com/Facebook. And basically it's just a place where we get together every day and we support each other as we grow our businesses. So Susie, you caught a piece of our show. Any questions for Teresa?
I thought it was very interesting how you know exactly what you're good at and how to use that to benefit other people. I thought that was really interesting how you talked about how, you use your listening skills because of what you know about yourself. That's the first step of any process towards helping anybody with anything, is knowing yourself first. So that's phenomenal that you know your own skills and then you know how to use them. So very, very cool. I love that part. You mentioned at the end there, the YouTube, that you have to have 100 subscribers. You actually don't now. Just today is the first day that you can have your own YouTube handle. I just did mine this morning.
That's
Yeah.
right. I forgot. I got that email and I
right now, girl.
Yay. Okay, I'm totally doing that.
Yeah, do it for real. Yeah, you don't have to have 100 subscribers anymore. You are now free to handle away.
Woo woo. Yeah, I'm making a note right now to do that because it's such a pain in the butt to share your YouTube channel when you have just the jargon URL.
It's true. Yes.
Yeah, I just made a pretty link and used that because that was pointless.
Yeah, no, you can keep doing that if you want, or you can make your own handle and switch that out.
Yes. Yeah. So there's that. So, Teresa, I have questions and you have answers. If you were going to, let's say, for example, do a photo shoot for me, what would your thoughts be? Like, what would you be thinking?
So the way my process works is I always do a questionnaire that I send to whomever. And on that questionnaire, it asks you various things like your goals, what things you're wanting to promote, a little bit of your backstory, and kind of the vibe and the feeling that you want your videos or your pictures to really capture. So it really depends what you want to use the photos for the most, whether it's to promote Ladies Power Lunch, whether it's to promote the summits, whatever it is. I mean, to me, I feel like the thing you need the most would be those personality shots, because I feel like you can get a lot of use value out of them. I mean, I saw you even had some in the end, slideshow or the outro for the your show. So having things like that, and then
I did use one of your photos from when you were our sponsor. You took some photos that you sent me.
It was from the spring summit. I saw that.
It was a spring summit. Yeah. You were
and then that kind of stuff
summit. Yeah.
Yeah, like you in action, and photos that really encompass the feeling of what you're trying to create. So showing like the community that you've created, even if it's not like a bazillion people. I think just like Liz's video, just having the three of you there, it showed the community without having to show the entire community. Like you got the feeling of what Green Heart Living is all about. So something similar with you, I think, would be really valuable, because you were very much about building community.
What about Susie? Let's say you were going to do video for Susie, because she is a TV show host, because now Susie's our new best friend, so we know all about Susie. She's a TV show host and she's into health and wellness. What else would we need to know about you, Susie, to do a video about you?
I focus heavily on habits and simplification. Habits and simplification are kind of my jam. I help you to break down the things that are complicated and difficult and make them simpler. So I try to keep my intros very much what I teach. I keep everything very simple. And I don't know, my intros are short. I try to give the people more time to talk about what they need versus I try to make it very much about you and not about me. Put it that way.
I love that. I think for you, I would definitely do, because when it comes to health and wellness, everybody just gets immediately overwhelmed. Even though we know the things, like we're still just completely overwhelmed. So I think focusing on the simplicity of habits in your approach is a huge thing. And then the fact that you incorporate humor, I would want to incorporate humor, because humor is a way, I am convinced that it is one of the most powerful ways to reach people. If you can make them laugh, they will be with you forever, because people respond so positively to humor. I mean, look at the stupid Geico commercials, we quote them and they have become a part of our lives.
Yes.
So I feel like it's such a powerful way to go. So as soon as you said habits and humor, I was like, oh my God, I am so all about that. I want to watch your show.
Great.
Yeah, you should come in the Ladies Power Lunch group and share about your show, so that some of our ladies might be even interested in watching that. But Teresa, I'm sorry, I digress. Tell us how you would go about crafting Susie's video.
Before you answer, Teresa, really quickly, Davia, what is Ladies Power Lunch? Is it you actually meet at lunchtime, or is it a Zoom?
Once a month, we do meet at lunchtime on Zoom, 12:30, third Monday of the month. We do meet on Zoom, and we have a little get together. It has 3 parts. The first part is networking, and it's completely free. First part is networking. The second part is we have a member match. So it's sort of like an opportunity for us to get to know each other a little bit better. And there is an opportunity for us to have what we call a collaboration partner. Some people call it an accountability partner. But it's somebody that you can touch bases with, and they might know somebody who might be able to support you on whatever project that you might be working on, or they might be able to be a touchstone for you with developing better habits, right? And then the third piece is we always bring in some kind of workshop to support things that people are working on. So for this month, we have the one, the only April Goff Brown, and she is going to be doing a visioning workshop. We're planning 2023. And so she's going to be using 3 different media. The idea of vision boards, the idea of oracle cards, and the idea of something called human design, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with, but she'll explain all of that. And
cool.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be talking
Check
about.
it out.
Yeah, LPR is awesome. I gotta plug you, Davia, but it's such a great group, and I love going to meetings. The Facebook group, it's very lively, so there's always
how many people usually attend the meetings?
Usually we probably have about 15 people show up for the meetings, but it's usually from month to month a different group that shows up.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So that's interesting. It would be nice if we had maybe a bigger group, but I think what happens is when we have our summits, so summits are not free. Summits, we actually meet in person, and those are paid events. When we have our summits, then we get the bigger groups, and those happen twice a year. And alongside each summit, we do publish an anthology, and those we invite our Ladies Power Lunch members to participate in. So as co-authors, which Teresa is a co-author in our most recent anthology, and that's why she is being interviewed today.
Awesome. Is it a physical book, or is it an ebook, or what is your anthology?
It is all the things. It is a physical book, like the...
Cool. And who's your publisher?
Our publisher is Greenheart Living Press, which is a collaborator of Ladies Power Lunch.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And we also do work with some of our members to do solo publishing projects. So there are many opportunities for visibility.
Very cool.
For our members. But we were talking about you, Susie. You just keep turning it back to us. I noticed that about you.
So Teresa,
I
go ahead and answer her question.
You,
what video would you make for me?
Yes, let's talk about you.
I definitely would want to learn more about your process when it comes to simplifying habits, because again, I think I know I personally get really hung up on that. So being able to showcase the simplicity, I think, would be really, really big, because like I said, most people get very, very overwhelmed when it comes to changing habits. And we tend to get in our heads a lot, and we tell ourselves a lot of stories. At least that's what I do. So really focusing on your process and how you do it differently and how you simplify, and then finding ways to add in that humor, I think it would be really powerful. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if either of you know the show Morbid. It's a live touring show, and they get people to read their middle school journals live on stage, which is absolutely mortifying when you think about reading your journal.
Hysterical.
But it is so funny, and I know, like, I still have my journals from back then, and I've gone back and read them, and it's actually very enlightening. This is so off topic. It's very enlightening to kind of look back at yourself and see how you've changed, and the things you valued then are not things that all you value now, or sometimes they are. But anyways, the humor of Morbid, or not Morbid. Morbid's a different show. I think it's Mortifying or something. I feel like it's universal. Humor tends to be very universal. So that's why it's such a powerful language. So I would definitely want to incorporate humor into whatever I created, whether it was pictures or videos, for you, for sure.
So awesome. I have crazy ideas also. And Teresa knows this about me. And our viewers also, by now, I think, know this about me. So I'm seeing you, Susie. You know Chelsea Handler?
Uh-huh.
I'm seeing you like doing like a Chelsea Handler show, but like the Susie B show, with just literally changing people's habits on this show, like doing a show, like a show, changing people's habits. And it's just an outstanding, like, it's almost like it's presented like it's a show, but it's your video, you know?
I like that.
I am crazy. I know, it's fine. I have too many ideas sometimes.
No such thing. That's great.
No such thing.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. I like that. I like that for episodes too, for the win-win show. Just having somebody come on and say, hey, this is what I'm struggling with, and immediately doing a live session where I help them change their habits right then and there. Ooh, that's good. Good job.
That's really good. Because to see like you in action, and to see you doing work with somebody else, I think, again, we have these preconceived notions about what these things will look like when we have to do them. So to see you do it with somebody else, it's like, oh, is that what it's like? Oh, okay. And it just really breaks down that wall that we build up of like, oh, it's going to be hard and it's going to be this and whatever we tell ourselves it's going to be. It never is that. So like now you're showcasing it. And I think to see almost like those light bulb moments in other people, it's a good trigger in that it's like, I want my own light bulb moment. So I love that.
I mean,
Great
good.
idea,
This is good.
Davia.
I think
I
that's
came in
why
not looking for this discussion, but I'm enjoying it thoroughly.
I think that's why, Teresa, that's why when people do video with you, their businesses grow, because you come up with these creative, maybe crazy ideas for for showcasing them and their businesses, but it's attention getting, and it showcases them in a way that people may not have thought of them. It's sort of, it gets attention in a way that people may not have thought of them before. And so people will suddenly be pulled in and say, oh, hey, Susie does that. And look at what Susie did with that person. Maybe I'll give her a call. Or maybe I'll check out her website, or, so yeah, I see definitely a benefit to using the media for that purpose, for sure.
Oh my
No
God,
doubt.
yeah. And I think, Susie, I want to connect with you later. I want to learn more about you. I'm so intrigued.
Perfect.
But I know like this book this year has been all the rage, this Atomic Habits book.
Oh yeah, that one's on our book list for Ladies Power Lunch.
It was good, but again, like I know I'm someone who really struggles with implementation. So even though the concepts totally made sense in this book, I look at the 4-step chart and I'm like, oh, I'm already overwhelmed by these 4 steps.
Yeah. So he published his book 1 year before I published mine, and the research is literally the exact same. Like the title, I mean, like it is amazing. When I was reading his book, I just was like, oh, sweet, praise the Lord. Like somebody else gets it, like it was awesome that I just was able to watch. He calls it different things than I do, but like even like
Let's see your book, Susie.
Potential.
Can you hold it up?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Well, this is my old cover. The new cover's cuter, but
I want to see all the covers.
Yeah.
And we also have, so our collaboration partner, Barb Pritchard, she did our cover. This is not
cool.
Really
hang on one second.
great,
I'll go get my better,
because it has our Bengali all over it, but she did a fantastic job with our new cover.
She always does a beautiful job. I can always recognize a Barb cover. Oh yeah, that is pretty.
Oh yeah, that is a nicer cover than the other one for sure. Who's your publisher?
New. So but yeah, so it was fun reading his book because it was like the same exact research and the same exact process, but his was so overwhelming because he told like 50,000 different stories, and by the end you're just like so much information overload, but no implementation. And so mine is actually broken up into 2 parts. The first half of the book is the research. It's his whole book is in the first half of my book. And then the second half of my book is how to apply it to 5 different areas of your life.
Wow,
and then at the end, I give you my little tracking system where you can actually make it happen for 60 days in a row till you actually form the habits. So that was the difference between his book and mine. Is his is very much about how to do it and then go and do it on your own. And mine is very much about like, this is the real process step by step, and make you actually.
And everybody is different. This is the beauty. So one of my really dear friends, she's also a member of Ladies Power Lunch. She published that book, How to Eat the Elephant. She is a Harvard trained book coach. And she says that, there's so many different people in the world, and all of them have a different approach to the way that they're going to implement their life. And so, whereas there's somebody like me who I love the story. Oh, do I ever love the story? So you see the way that dude writes Atomic Habits, that works for me because I love the story. And then in between the story, when he intersperses the things to do, I love that. Whereas my husband does not have time for that at all. He wants to see the research, and then he wants to see the tracker. And your book is going to be a much better book for him.
My story is also in there, so you might both get something out of it.
I feel like I'm going to get something out of all the books, but it's just so great. And so one of the things that Anne Shabani, my friend who wrote that book, is one of the things that she always says is that, how dare you not write your book? How dare you? Because the person who needs to hear your story from your perspective is out there.
And that's what I think, like, even in my work, I have a lot of clients that do the same thing, but they don't really do the same.
Not really.
They do it so differently. And their technique won't work for everyone, but it will work for the people that need to do it that way. So
Well, ladies,